right? Okay, so we're going to talk about creating culture, tips and tricks for creating the ideal work environment. Before we do that, I want to kind of just talk really quick about the worst job you ever had. I want you to imagine it in your mind, the nightmare that ensued when you worked for it. That is not BYU-Idaho. What words would you use to describe the atmosphere of that work environment, the worst work environment? You could just yell out the answers, raise your hand.
Uncommunicative.
Uncommunicative. What else? Boring. Boring job. Huh?
Exclusive.
So like funny.
Clickish,
right?
Not supportive.
Unsupportive. Competitive to the point of like
Dark.
like Harry Potter's world. Yeah, so I think we can all safely say there are lots and lots of terrible things and words we could use to describe the worst work environment. So think about the best job you've ever had, which is obviously this one. What words would you use to describe that atmosphere?
Friendly.
Fun.
Rewarding.
Friendly, rewarding,
Relaxed.
challenging,
Collaborative.
I love all these big words. I agree with all of these. Okay, so I'm sure you guys know this because I basically blasted it out to everyone and their mom that I could think of. But I did a survey of the instructors at BYU-Idaho and asked them basically these same questions. And I was super excited because I was like hoping for 50 responses or something. But in actuality, I got like over 200 responses. Wow. 230 of them to be exact, which was a lot of data for me to go over. And these are the words that people use to describe their worst work environment experience, which I thought a lot of them came kind of as a surprise to me because I guess I'm surprised that it could be that terrible at some companies. But hateful, unethical, overworked, tense, monotony, secretive, snooty. But I wanted to go deeper and look at the worst job descriptions total that people describe. So I went through and looked at every word, every chart, every graph, and these were the top 5 categories that everyone, instructors at BYU-Idaho, listed as their worst job experience. They said it was negative and unfriendly, and these are ranked in order of popularity. Unsupportive and weak leadership. Monotonous and unchallenging, which I found surprising because I think sometimes we're afraid to push people. Lack of community, so they feel isolated, but also authoritarian and lack of trust, which is kind of interesting given that they don't like weak leadership. So I did the same with the best job. Do you like my animation? What happened? It disappeared? That's terrible animation. Just kidding, guys. Does it sparkle and then go away?
Yeah, it's sparkling.
Are you serious? This is not working out like it did at home.
There we go.
Okay, so these are the actual words people use to describe their best job environment. They said it was stimulating, it was peaceful, it was open and warm, rewarding, positive, direct. I love the use of words that people used here, and it gave me so much to think about just in my own job description. Again, back to this survey, these were the top 5 in order again of the things that people used to describe the best job they ever had. They said it was positive and friendly, stimulating and challenging, supportive and strong leadership, community and collaboration, and autonomy and trust. So if you'll see, I don't even think people planned it that way, but these are basically the exact opposite of what they said they disliked in a work environment. Slightly different verbiage, I guess you could say, but very, very similar, the results. So you're probably like, what the heck are you doing with this, Sarah? Where are you taking me? I'm taking you in a direction of organizational culture. So basically what this is describing is something called organizational culture. It's the values of an organization that you work for. So organizational culture, the definition of it is the idea that a unique culture or organizational soul specific to each workplace exists, and that it's commonly generated by the people in charge, by the leadership. So basically, it's the leadership that determines what the work environment is going to be to a large extent. Okay, so this idea of organizational culture, I'm giving you this backstory, but it's because it helped prove to me the importance of taking into consideration the culture that you're creating. So I want to give you a little bit of backstory from where this came from. So the whole idea of organizational culture came from this man right here. His name is Herb Kelleher. He actually is the co-founder and CEO of Southwest Airlines, so now he's retired, he's like in his 80s. He was born and raised in New Jersey, and he received his law degree from NYU. You can tell he's got a little personality on him with his little jet right there. He started Southwest with only 4 airplanes. So it was back in Houston. He had enough to purchase 4 airplanes, nothing else. He had no money for advertising whatsoever, but yet, despite all of that, maintained steady growth for 38 straight years, which is absolutely unheard of in the airline industry. When there's recession, it's very like this in the airline industry, and airlines come and go. But he generated a steady profit for 38 years straight. So naturally, this generated a lot of interest amongst a lot of really smart, intelligent people. And basically, one of the people that he attracted was a guy named Daniel Goleman. And he's a psychologist, and he works for Harvard. And they basically said, what makes this man so successful? And when they asked him, he said, it's my organizational culture. They're like, what is your organizational culture? And he says, it's what I value. It's the way I'm interacting with my people. It has nothing to do with my business model. You know, I can copy the business model of the most successful business on the planet. Anyone can do that. What makes me special is the way that I treat my employees, the way that I interact with people. And this guy was skeptical. He was like, is that really true? Can that really be proven? So he decided to go ahead and study him. And several studies have been conducted on Herb Kelleher. And basically what he discovered is that followers mirror their leaders. Like literally, they mirror their leaders. And there's science behind this whole theory. That they mirror their leaders. And so I'm going to go into just a very brief background about that. It has to do with something called mirror neurons. And you see my little monkey? You guys have heard of monkey see, monkey do. We've known this for a really, really long time. That, you know, way back in the day, probably in the 1920s, or who knows when, I should cite my sources better, huh? There's like lab technicians. And they're working on stuff in the lab. And all of a sudden they notice that a monkey starts imitating them. So if the lab technician is, you know, sitting there unpeeling his banana, all of a sudden they see that a monkey is in there pretending to unpeel a banana. And then if he goes over there and is pouring stuff into his beakers, they all of a sudden notice that this monkey in there starts pretending to pour stuff into his beakers. And so basically what Herb Kelleher did is he took this, not Herb Kelleher, Dan Goleman did, is he took this idea of monkey see, monkey do, and wanted to see if scientists and a bunch of really smart people could isolate exactly what made the monkey do what he saw. Is there something in the brain that actually causes someone to do that? And so basically that's exactly what they did. They hooked up a whole bunch of electrodes to this poor little monkey. And they basically waited for him to start imitating the lab technician and tried to see if there was anything in the brain that only happened when he was in imitation mode. And they found just that, something called mirror neurons that light up in the brain, and they only light up when someone is mirroring someone else, or the monkey was mirroring someone else. Well, Dan Goleman took this big discovery and decided to apply it to humans and say, well, humans are a lot more complex than monkeys, hopefully. And he said, okay, now we know that people mirror other people. I see it all the time. You see it in the movie The Incredibles when the lady's feeding her baby, how she's like trying to chew and they're making fun of her. And I do that with my baby all the time. You know, you're trying to help your baby chew and you don't even realize that you're like chewing with your baby. Well, he decided to say, okay, we know that we do that physically, but is there a way that we can discover if we're doing it mentally as well? And so basically he went and did a whole bunch of studies on human beings and decided to look at it from an emotional, psychological standpoint to figure out, do we mirror people's emotions? Do we mirror the environments that we're in? And do those mirror neurons light up when we're doing that as well? And he discovered yes. So he did bunches of studies in big corporations, big organizations. One of them was, basically he realized that mirror neurons are activated multiple times a day, and most of the time in relation to emotions or the moods of the people around them. Obviously, we're in the workplace for a great deal of that time, so it's happening all the time when we're at work. We have mirror neurons firing off all the time when we're working, and we're taking on kind of some of the mood, the tone, the inflection of the people of those around us. And he decided to conduct an experiment in a workplace to really test how much mirror neurons are impacting our interaction with each other, particularly within the role of leadership. So what he did was he took a whole big group of people, and he took a boss person and said, I want you to conduct a performance report or review and to go over their feedback for them. And I want you to take one group of people, the ones that did really, really good on their performance, and I want you to talk to them and tell them how awesome they did, but I want you to do it while you're frowning. And I want you to do it like in this really severe tone, and like, let's see how they take it. And then they took a separate set of people, and then they told the boss to do it in this really uppity tone, but they basically tell them they stink. Like they're the worst employee on the planet. You're fired, leave. But do it with a smile on their face. And be really happy and excited about it, like a bad episode of The Office or something. And so they did this, and they discovered that categorically across the board, 100% of the people said that they preferred the uppity bad news to the good news that was delivered very, very severely, which I thought was interesting. And they basically linked this to the idea of the mirror neurons. It's psychological, basically. Our brains cannot help but take on the moods and tones of those around us. Even more, we have a perception of that even quicker than we do of the words people are saying. So automatically, if someone's exuding a tone of unapproachable, mean, severe, we're focusing on that, and we're not even hearing what they're saying anymore because our mirror neurons are firing off, telling us that this person hates us, even though they're telling us we're amazing. Okay, so this is a quote from that really smart guy, Dan Goleman. He said, mirror neurons have particular importance in organizations because leaders' emotions and actions prompt followers to mirror those feelings and deeds. The effects of activating neural circuitry in followers' brains can be exceptionally powerful. And basically, he wrote this entire book on it where he talks about how employees are basically neurologically programmed to mirror their leaders by virtue of their mirror neurons, to empower leaders to realize the amount of power that they actually wield in setting the tone for the entire organization. So what does this have to do with this Herb Kelleher guy I keep talking about? Again, he was the springboard for the entire study. They looked at video footage and all kinds of stuff on him. And they said it was really fascinating because they once analyzed a video of him strolling down the corridors at Love Field in Dallas, which is his headquarters, which is the airline's hub at the time. He said we could practically see him activate the mirror neurons, oscillators, and other social circuitry in each person he encountered. He offered beaming smiles, shook hands with customers as he told them how much he appreciated their business, hugged employees as he thanked them for their good work, and he got back exactly what he gave. Typical was the flight attendant whose face lit up when she unexpectedly encountered her boss and said, "Oh, my honey," brimming with warmth, and gave him a big hug. She later explained, everyone just feels like family with him. I want to work for him. He sounds awesome. I love Herb. I don't even know Herb, and Herb's my hero. Okay, so he said the business of business is people. This is what he values, his organizational culture, and I'm going to show you a clip so you'll get to see them in a minute. But just to give you a little bit of background, huge emphasis on employees first. He believes you cannot serve the customers effectively unless you are first serving your employees. You set the model for them to follow. He created an atmosphere of fun and approachability, and his big quote that he's known for is saying tangibles of things are less important than the intangibles of spirit. So he said, I can buy anything I want, but I cannot purchase the intangibles of spirit. I'm going to show you a video here real quick. This is what he defines as his organizational culture, is the overall feeling or vibe of what an organization values. In the context of his definition that an organizational culture is based on what your organizational values, and based on the video I'm going to show you, I want you to look at what he appears to value. If you have an iPad, if you have a notepad, jot down anything that comes to mind based on what he says, and then we'll have a really quick talk about what he appears to value. And there's a swear word toward the end of the video, so I have to remember to cut it at the right spot. Because he's colorful. We'll call him colorful. That's okay.
Now we're really good.
Now you guys are all interested, aren't you? Do we have sound?
You need to plug in the sound.
Oh. Is that gonna work?
Yeah, that should work.
Oh, now he's going fast. Nope, now we can hear nothing.
Well,
We should have tested the sound. My apologies.
because I can hear it from the laptop.
Yeah, it's not coming through.
Go to your settings and look at the input, make sure the input's coming in through the headphones.
That's what you do. You stick that in and, oh, this one isn't hooked up. That one isn't hooked up. It has to be hooked into the sound.
Sarah, I have a comment, is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, has anybody seen the Studio C skit about when you think better in a song? Yeah, it would be so supportive of this. She's going, you're fired, fired, yeah. And like makes all this horrible nuisance.
Why didn't I find that?
And they're all great, thanks.
When I was collaborating, Lori, on our presentation, you would have added Studio C, and that would have been fantastic.
Try that now.
All right, are we all right?
Has ever seen it?
Get ready.
No, yeah, I've seen
We'll see
it.
if that
It's
works.
Hello.
The business of business is
There we go.
people. Yesterday, today, and forever. And as among employees, shareholders, and customers, we decided that our internal customers, our employees, came first. The synergy, in our opinion, is simple. Honor, respect, care for, protect, and reward your employees, regardless of title or position. And in turn, they will treat each other and their external customers in a warm, in a caring, and in a hospitable way. This causes external customers to return, thus bringing joy to shareholders. We believe that our job is not only to provide a far more reliable service at far lower fares, but also to provide a spiritual infusion, an infusion of fun, warmth, hospitality, and diligent servanthood for both employees and our passengers. The intangibles of spirit, in our view, are more important than the tangibles of things. Why? First of all, it's a matter of morality and of ethics. But secondly, from a purely business standpoint, the tangibles can always be purchased. All airlines have airplanes. But the intangibles are far more difficult for competitors to replicate. And unless a company is paying peonage compensation, psychic satisfaction is what employees and even external customers are primarily seeking. If anyone doubts the value of esprit de corps, I suggest to talk with the United States Marine Corps. Esprit gets things done well and fast. Communicate, 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 and communicate, but not in corporate speak or bureaucraties, which is not only boring, but hardly understandable. Set up employee services and employee care departments, which are constantly in contact with employees who have any professional or personal problems. Show that you value your employees as individuals, not just as workers. Through word and by deed, join in their every personal exaltation, such as the birth of a baby, and their every personal mishap and grief, such as the death of a relative. You always hear from us when anything important happens in your life. As a business becomes larger and more widespread geographically, establish culture committees. Establish culture committees, in effect, as missionaries to spread the word and keep the fire of culture burning. And constantly honor and constantly celebrate employees who display golden rule behavior, inside or outside the work environment, because they're the role models for all of your people and how you want them to behave.
Okay. So really quickly, what are some of the things that he described that you would say shows what his organizational culture is, what he values? He said lots of words.
So one thing I pointed out that was similar to us is he talked about care facilities, and I think we have like news. You can post news. I think you do that on your community space. Yeah. So I was just trying to see comparisons.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to the comparison.
Okay.
Or are we the culture community, or the community, or the
Yeah.
culture?
Oh, I love seeing you're taking it too. That's the direction I'm going. The culture committees. We're the culture committees, guys, of the mission of BYU-Idaho. We're the culture committees. We're the ones that are supposed to be exemplifying what BYU-Idaho's role and mission is, and we are supposed to be teaching that to the people we serve. And if we do that well, and we do that effectively enough, then the students who are our customers are going to come back, and they're going to enjoy the experience, and they're going to feel that we value things that are aligned with what the university values, and hopefully what they value as well. What other words did he use?
He used the word servanthood.
Servanthood, I know. I know. He's big proponent of servant leadership, which sounds similar too, doesn't it? Servant leadership. Yes.
I've taught Kelleher and strategic planning courses,
Oh.
and I asked the question, which is more important, a return to the shareholders, happy employees, or happy customers? Now, the question that we need to ask ourselves, because I totally agree with the idea that happy employees create the happiest, best environment, and all the others follow. So the real question is, how do we create happy students? And I hope you're going to answer that.
Hopefully we'll go that direction, except we're going more of a leadership angle. If I were to modify this and go the direction of presenting like on Thursday or Friday, I would have applied this model more to the student model. But this is kind of more for a leadership model.
Us as leaders, you mean?
Yes, us as leaders.
So then what we're going to do, or how we respond to our students.
How we respond to the instructors we serve.
So if you're an OCR.
So we're in the leadership
okay.
and setting up our own
OCR,
organizational
okay, I got it.
culture.
Thank you.
It's okay.
It's gonna trickle down though.
It is, but that's the idea, is it trickles down.
Very good point.
But it's a really good point. Oh, we're all back now. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so these are some of the words that he used. So psychic satisfaction, recognition, rewards, simplicity, communicate. I think he said that like 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
I love that at the center of his philosophy are the people.
Yeah.
And I really like what Elder Perry has taught us about being optimistic. And his leadership style was, you never have a dull day. You walk in the room and you pat everyone on the back, and then he said you care deeply about them and find out those personal things that are happening in their life. But I think that seems to be the center of his philosophy.
Yes, of his philosophy. And really, I think BYU-Idaho's as well.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. No, I love that. Don't you miss Elder Perry? He was such a wonderful man. So what does this have to do with you? We're taking it, you already know. So we're already taking it this direction. So first I want you to consider for yourselves, what's your culture? Meaning, what do you value in your specific leadership role? Do you know what you value? Do you know the culture that you're trying to create? If you could make a list, as our instructors already have, could you list the top 5 things that you value? I want you to think about that and jot down any thoughts you have. What's BYU-Idaho's? Yes?
It's interesting. I'm looking at a bunch of instructors teaching the same course, and I've been trying to think in my mind, because the students are grading the instructor, how much they enjoy the course.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to determine how important is it that the students enjoy the course. Is that a reflection of how the instructors are doing and how the students are learning?
I think many times it is.
I think so too. The higher, it's not the grades.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to do, is perhaps strive to increase the instructor's abilities to have the students enjoy the course.
The psychic satisfaction of our students. Absolutely, absolutely. So, shifting gears a little bit, what is BYU-Idaho's culture? It has one. Do you guys know what it is?
Disciple leadership.
Disciple leadership. Disciple leadership. There's a lot of things. So be thinking about that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Do your cultures align? So, have you ever considered your culture, your values? Have you ever made a list? Have you ever taken it and analyzed BYU-Idaho's culture? And have you ever compared notes and said, and what I'm valuing, is it similar to what BYU-Idaho is telling me I should value and what the organization values? Which was a big eye-opener for me, to consider things like that. Do your actions in leadership reflect your values? So I know what I want my group to feel, but are my actions making them feel the way I want them to feel? And if not, or if so, what are those actions? How can I change those actions so that I am making them feel what I value? That if they filled out their next mid-semester evaluation of me, that I'm going to hopefully see in the feedback column that they are writing everything I value in the thing of what I'm doing well. Is my value list in the feedback that I'm getting from them? And if one of them's not on there, then maybe I'm not getting it across. Or if one of them, someone's actually saying I don't value that in my feedback, what does that say about what my actions are saying about what I value? Just some things to think about. We're going to talk a little bit about BYU-Idaho's culture. And then finally, what mirroring message are you sending to those you serve? So most of us that are in this room, we're serving other instructors, which means that they're serving other people. Some of us are serving other instructors who are serving other instructors. Some of us are servicing directly to the students, or we're servicing the instructors who are going to service the students. And what we're doing is we're sending them mirroring messages through our online communications. And what are we sending? Are those aligned? So, how do we even figure out what BYU-Idaho's culture is?
Mission statement.
Mission statement. What else?
Standards.
The instructor standards. What else?
Listen to the leaders.
Listen to the leaders. We have meetings all the time, don't we?
Foundational addresses. That's a new one.
The foundational
addresses. The
foundational addresses that we just got today.
Even
Absolutely.
devotionals, I think. Just the weekly devotionals are reflections of what the culture is meant to be.
Absolutely. So devotional addresses. Anyone else?
Leadership principles.
The leadership principles. So like the leadership handbook.
Yeah.
I mean, how many pages is the leadership handbook? So many resources. So the main ones that I came up with, which of course you guys came up with several more, are obviously we have BYU-Idaho's mission, BYU-Idaho's learning model, the leadership manual, the foundational addresses. I mean, we have so many sources that we can go to that they're always telling us we need to get into. And are we in them? Do we know what BYU-Idaho is valuing? So I know that because we're in leadership, we're hopefully familiar with some of the stuff that's in here. So really quickly, I want to talk about what BYU-Idaho values, and I want you guys to lead the discussion. So I want you to take like 5 minutes, no, probably 3, and talk to a partner or 3 people. And I want you guys to just jot down the biggest, fattest list you possibly can of all of the words that you think describe what BYU-Idaho values. And you can cheat if you want. If you want to go open up your leadership handbook.
You're the model. Got it all there. Amorphous, sometimes people like what the spirit of bricks is service. Instructors knew all this things, really trying to academically ready. So he talked about because the thing is, you start to drift into your survey. Very good job. How do you get that?
All right, let's do 1 more minute.
Get them to feel some of that, to remember why it's special. That's just another part-time yeah, thank you. How about you? Sorry, I've been doing this.
Okay, 10 seconds, start wrapping it up.
I don't have a list, I'm in trouble.
I don't have those either. This is these gentlemen behind me. You have a few names in the back of the line.
Okay, now hopefully we have nice big fat lists because I want to share them really quickly. So, let's go ahead. We're gonna try not to duplicate, which is probably gonna be hard because we're all gonna be like, but let's start back here. I know I took your answer, the only one you had, right? Let's start back here and let's just share like 3 at a time and try not to duplicate anyone. So back here, what did we come up with? 3 things.
Self-reliance in family, church, and community.
Is that 1, 2, or 3?
Self-reliance in its family, church, and community.
So like the mission.
That was all one.
Or so like the mission,
Yeah.
of And then we had building faith in the Spirit, building our testimony, faith in Jesus Christ, as well as a personalized connection. So focus on the one.
Okay, definitely. I would say that stuff. That's all in the handbook. Yeah. What are some stuff? 3 things you guys came up with. Shout it out loud.
A vision for the future, service, trust for the student.
Okay, so lots of student-oriented ones. I love that. Love that. Here, let's start on this room.
Spirit of risk. I love high expectations. What did that one? Stewardship.
Stewardship.
That was 3.
That's a great word to describe. Okay.
Service, collaboration, and disciple leadership.
Disciple leadership, service, collaboration, disciple leadership. It's getting thin here, guys. Better start crossing stuff out. What about over here?
Quality of education.
Quality of education.
Teach one another.
Teach one another.
High expectations.
High expectations, just high expectations.
No,
I know where you're going with it. He's the one that said happy student, so we know he's all about high love too. James, what do you have?
I've been just checking them off, crossing them off my list. We did talk about just this idea of we're part of something bigger. That's not one word, but it's a big word. Bigger.
Bigger.
500,000 students and, global, big. We are part of something
That
bigger
is
than
our
ourselves.
mission. Yeah. Love it. What do you guys have? Lynn, did you talk at all?
I always listen to all these fantastic answers, so I'll just observe.
Okay.
Lifelong learning.
Lifelong learning. That's another big one. You guys are shouting out actual words I could visualize in our role and mission. Anyone else? I know we're getting thin, so just raise your hand if you have a new one.
Professional development.
Professional development. Drawn on the standards. Yes.
A safe environment for our students to learn.
A safe environment for our students to learn.
Affordable education.
Affordable education. That's very good.
We talked about preparation,
Preparation.
and we talked about the know, do, become.
Yes. Yes. And preparation is so huge. Spiritual preparation. Preparation of our lesson materials. Preparation to open up our mid-semester feedback. Right? Here's some of the other words that I drew directly. This comes from the leadership handbook directly. These are actual words that I pulled that came from there. So consistency, swiftness, counsel, humility, obedience, stewardship, divine potential, follow through, servant leadership. So slightly different lists than what we saw at the beginning, right? Where people were just generally talking about the best work environment they created or have been part of. This adds more, don't you think? A lot of new kind of layers and elements to it.
You could add responsibility to be helpful to the other students, which kind of fits with some of the other things you said.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Did you have something?
The thought kept coming to my mind, the word charitable.
Yes.
In other words, being charitable to each other and to our students.
Yes, in a Christ-like way.
Yeah, spirit of charity.
Yes, yes. No, absolutely. We don't have much time left, so I just want to issue you guys a challenge, an invitation. Really quickly, with the last 5 minutes, what I would like you to do is to create a top 5 list of the culture that you want to create, the values that you want to portray to whoever it is that you're serving. Think of, if you don't know where to begin, think of 5 words that you would hope people would use to describe working with you. If there were 5 things that you would want people to say about you on your evaluation next time, what would those 5 things be? And I'm literally going to give you like 2 minutes. You're going to write it down. I'm looking at you, Jake.
Picked up my pen.
And if you only have 2 that you can think of, then at least start there. So start by thinking of those 5 characteristics. Draw from BYU-Idaho, draw from your own values. And then when you're done, you can all just stare at me with like glazed over eyes. Oh, I'd be like, oh, it's time to move on. Or you could smile at me. Okay, so just like 10 more seconds. Yeah, because you already know your culture because you're there, right? You've arrived. Okay. Now I want you to look at that list, and we just got our mid-semester evaluations. I got mine yesterday. I want you, hopefully you guys read it already, or maybe you guys are like hiding and you're like, okay, cool. I want you to pick one of those items on your list that just right off the top of your head you know needs work. It's something that you are aspiring to. Maybe you're still okay at it, but it's something that you know you can do better in terms of your values and how you're getting it across. Maybe you value it already, but you're not getting it across maybe the way you want to, because online is tricky. It's tricky to get the right action and mood across. So circle one of them, and then I want you to consider how you can apply it in an online realm, because obviously we're not going to be at conference every single week, even though that would be awesome. But I want you to consider how you can apply it and execute it in an online realm. Now, some of you might be saying, I have no idea where to start. So I listed these possible sources for you. Go to the Leadership Handbook. I know if you're like me, you probably haven't been in there in a little bit while. Before I did this presentation, I think I had reviewed it like 4 months before, and it was probably a cursory because I was looking for an answer to a question. Get in that Leadership Handbook. They offer so many suggestions for how you can execute things. I was really, really surprised by how much guidance it gives. Get in the online community. People are always posting, and you don't just have to get in the online community to find answers, like by searching. Ask a question. If you're not sure, if you're wanting to establish a nice value set that you know you're not getting across effectively and you have no clue how to do it, post it in your online community. Ask your leaders, what can I do? You seem to be good at this, but I can't seem to get a handle on it. How can I do it? Or ask those you serve. You know, I'm struggling in this area, or even asking feedback. Do you think I struggle in this area? Can you help me to know how I can better serve you? And then I just want to end really quickly on this final thought that comes from David Lappin. I believe he's another Harvard guy. But he says, like a garden, organizational culture develops whether or not you design it. If you ignore it, it continues to grow, just not necessarily in the ways you might have hoped. Without attention to culture, office politics can proliferate, becoming cancerous and blocking the free flow of information. Fear can inhibit innovation, and people may try to do as little as they can in return for as much as they can get. An unhealthy culture is a pervasive, invisible force that undermines what you do and drains your leadership energy. If you build your culture with care and nurture and sustain it, it will help you to engage the best talent and lure the most loyal customers. So I think this answers his question on how to make students happy. If you nurture and build your culture and sustain it, you will engage the best talent, meaning the people that you're working with, the instructors that you're serving. And then those instructors will also maintain some pretty awesome students that won't hopefully not be turned away. So that is what I have for you. Here's a quick screenshot of the sources I drew from for the presentation, but I hope that this was helpful. That's it.